Texas. It's a land built on oil, cattle, and legendary fortunes. The story we all know is one of wildcatters and cattle barons, larger-than-life characters who gambled big and won bigger. Their names are carved right into the state's foundations. But there's another story hiding in plain sight, an equally powerful yet often quieter narrative of grit, ingenuity, and community. This is the story of how a handful of visionary Jewish families, many arriving with little more than a dream, built some of the most powerful business dynasties in the Lone Star State. They didn't just get rich. They built the infrastructure of commerce, shaped the culture, and helped define what it means to be a Texan. We're counting down the 10 biggest Jewish family businesses that shaped Texas, from the iconic stores that dressed the state for generations, to the giants of real estate and technology that built the skyline and powered our modern world. These are the legacies that turned small family shops into billion-dollar empires, and you can feel their influence every single day. Number 10. Shep's Dairy. Coming in at number 10 is a name that, for generations, was Dallas itself. A brand found on breakfast tables in every corner of the city, Shep's Dairy. This isn't just a story about milk. It's a story about a family's journey to the heart of Texas, bringing an entrepreneurial spirit that would nourish a booming metropolis. The Shep's family's journey began in Russia, like so many Jewish families of that era seeking a new life free from persecution. But the chapter that truly cemented their Texas legacy started in 1942. That's when Harmon Jaime Sheps founded the modern Shep's Dairy in Dallas. His start was as humble as they come, beginning with just a single truck and a whole lot of determination. He wasn't just selling milk. He was building a brand from the ground up, one delivery and one handshake at a time. His timing couldn't have been better. Dallas was on the verge of an explosive post-war boom, and Shep's Dairy grew right along with it. The family business became a fixture of Dallas life. Their state-of-the-art facility near downtown became a local landmark, a 24/7 operation churning out millions of gallons of milk a month. The Shep's name, plastered on cartons and trucks, became a symbol of local quality you could trust. The family's influence went beyond business. Jaime Sheps became a notable figure in the city, a man whose story was intertwined with Dallas's own dramatic history, so much so that he was even called to testify before the Warren Commission due to a passing acquaintance with Jack Ruby. But beyond the headlines, the family was known for its deep sense of community. After a tragic event in 1973, the company created a Crime Stopper rewards program that gave out over $1.5 million to tipsters over the years. Through descendants like Fonda Sheps Arbetter, the family remained deeply involved in the Dallas Jewish community, serving on boards and ensuring the values that brought them to America continued to thrive. The business evolved over the decades. After Harmon Sheps sold the company, it eventually became part of the dairy giant Dean Foods. In 2010, the Sheps brand name was mostly retired in favor of Oak Farms. Yet, while the name on the carton changed, the family's legacy is unforgettable. They built more than a dairy. They built a Dallas institution, a story of immigrant grit woven into the very fabric of the city. Number 9. Weingarten Realty Investors. At number 9, we uncover a family that literally built the world where modern Texans shop. While other dynasties on this list sold the goods inside the stores, this family built the stores themselves, spinning a grocery business into a real estate empire. This is the story of Weingarten Realty. The Weingarten story is the kind of American immigrant tale you almost can't make up. It starts in the 1880s with Harris Weingarten, a Jewish immigrant who arrived in Houston from Austria-Hungary with next to nothing. He started a small grocery business called Weingarten's, and through pure hard work, it grew into a beloved Houston grocery chain. That first generation laid the foundation, but it was the next that saw a whole new opportunity. In 1948, Hirsch's son, Joseph "Joe" Weingarten, had a brilliant idea. The family's grocery business was expanding, and every new store needed a building. Instead of paying rent to someone else, why not build their own? Joe founded Weingarten Markets Realty with a clear mission: develop and build shopping centers for the family's own grocery stores. It was genius. The realty company had a guaranteed anchor tenant, the family's own supermarket. This model fueled the explosive growth of both businesses. As Weingarten's grocery stores spread, Weingarten Realty was right there with them, developing the shopping centers that housed them. They knew what made a retail location successful because they were their own biggest client. The real turning point came in 1980 when the family sold the grocery business to Safeway. This decision allowed Weingarten Realty to become the family's sole focus. They poured all their energy into real estate, and in 1985, the company went public as Weingarten Realty Investors, raising the capital to kick off a new era of massive expansion. Under family leadership, the company grew into a titan of retail real estate. Their strategy was simple and effective: focus on neighborhood shopping centers anchored by supermarkets, the very model they had perfected for themselves decades earlier. Before its acquisition, a huge concentration of the company's business was right here in Texas, especially in its home city of Houston. The Weingarten family's legacy is written in brick and mortar all over Texas. They understood the power of the local shopping center better than almost anyone. The dynasty that began with a single immigrant grocer became a publicly traded real estate giant. In August 2021, the era came to a close when the company was acquired by Kimco Realty. But the story remains a masterclass in how one generation's success can be leveraged to build an even greater empire in the next. Number 8. Levi Strauss & Co. in Texas. At number 8, we have a name that isn't just American, it's global. A name synonymous with the very fabric of our culture: Levi Strauss. While the company was famously born in Gold Rush-era San Francisco, its story as a manufacturing powerhouse is deeply woven into the history of Texas. For nearly a century, Jewish family control and Texan labor combined to produce the most iconic piece of clothing ever made. The story starts, of course, with Levi Strauss, a Bavarian Jewish immigrant who landed in San Francisco in 1853. He saw that the miners and prospectors needed tough work pants, and along with a tailor named Jacob Davis, he patented the blue jean. The business was a family affair from early on, and his nephews, the Haas family, would control the company for generations, keeping it a private, family-run dynasty long after it became a global behemoth. The company's deep connection to Texas began as its jeans became the unofficial uniform of the American West. Cowboys, ranchers, and oil roughnecks all relied on the rugged durability of Levi's 501s. To meet that incredible demand, Levi Strauss & Co. started setting up a massive manufacturing footprint right here in Texas. Starting in the mid-20th century, the company opened major production plants across the state. There were factories in Denison, Wichita Falls, San Angelo, and most significantly, 2 enormous plants in San Antonio. These weren't small shops. They were industrial powerhouses employing thousands of Texans, many of them Mexican-American women who became the skilled hands behind the brand's legendary quality. The San Antonio plants alone once churned out over 4 million pairs of jeans a year. For decades, this was a story of shared success. The Haas family, leading the company from San Francisco, maintained a famously progressive corporate culture, rooted in the Jewish value of tikkun olam, or repairing the world. They were leaders in desegregating their factories and pioneers in offering employee benefits. But that Texas chapter was about to come to a painful close. In the 1990s and early 2000s, facing stiff competition, Levi Strauss & Co. made a series of brutal business decisions. To cut costs, the company shifted its manufacturing overseas. One by one, the Texas plants were shut down. The final 2 U.S. plants, both in San Antonio, closed in early 2004, marking the end of Levi's American manufacturing. The closures hit these communities hard, as they had depended on those jobs for generations. But the legacy of Levi Strauss in Texas remains. It's a complicated story, one of a Jewish family's business becoming a global icon, of Texas workers building that icon with their own hands, and of the harsh economic realities that changed American manufacturing forever. Number 7. Sanger Brothers Department Stores. For number 7, we're going way back to the beginnings of modern Texas. Before the gleaming skyscrapers and highways, a group of brothers arrived and built a retail empire that would define Dallas for over half a century. They were Texas's first retail kings, and their story is one of audacious vision on the wild frontier. This is the story of the Sanger brothers. The saga begins with 5 sons of a Bavarian Jewish family: Isaac, Lehman, Philip, Alexander, and Sam Sanger. Starting in 1857, they hatched a brilliant strategy. They would open stores along the route of the Houston and Texas Central Railroad as it pushed its way north. They were retail pioneers, following the Iron Horse and bringing sophisticated goods to the frontier. Their destiny was sealed in 1872 when the railroad reached a small but ambitious town, Dallas. There, led by brother Alexander Sanger, the company put down the roots of its empire. The Sanger brothers didn't just sell things, they basically invented modern retail in Texas. They were the first to offer free home delivery in Dallas and pioneered installment credit, allowing working-class families to afford quality goods. Their Dallas store was an oasis of style, a place where you could find anything from fine European fabrics to cowboy hats. At a time of rampant anti-Semitism, the family overcame prejudice and boycotts by simply offering the best product and the best service, winning over the city. The brothers weren't just merchants, they were city builders. They helped bring the state fair to Dallas and were instrumental in the founding of Temple Emmanuel, the city's first Reform Jewish congregation. The business was so influential that one of their star salesmen was a young man named Herbert Marcus, who would eventually leave to start a little store of his own you just might have heard of, Neiman Marcus. By the 1920s, Sanger Brothers was a commercial juggernaut. In 1961, it merged with its longtime rival to form the beloved Sanger-Harris chain, which dominated Texas retail for another quarter-century before eventually being absorbed by Foley's and then Macy's. Though the name has vanished from the storefronts, the Sanger legacy is everywhere in Dallas. They were the founding fathers of Texas retail, Jewish immigrants who saw a future in a frontier town and built it with their own hands. Number 6. Zale Corporation. Coming in at number 6 is a company that brought a little sparkle to the masses. From a single humble shop in an oil boom town, this family built a jewelry empire on a revolutionary idea: that everyone, not just the wealthy, deserved to own something beautiful. This is the story of the Zale Corporation. The story starts with the Zalewski family, Russian Jewish immigrants who later Americanized their name onto Zale. The sons, Morris and William Zale, learned the jewelry trade working for their uncle. But Morris had his own vision. After a brief, unsuccessful stint in another town where he was intimidated by the local Ku Klux Klan, he moved to the booming oil town of Wichita Falls. There, in 1924, Morris, his brother William, and their brother-in-law Ben Lipshy opened the first Zales Jewelers. It was a small shop, but it was founded on a radical idea that would turn the whole industry on its head. At the time, jewelry was a cash-only luxury for the rich. The Zale brothers introduced a credit plan with a simple, brilliant slogan: "A penny down and $1 a week." This was revolutionary. For the first time, fine goods were accessible to the average working American. The idea was an instant hit. Oilfield workers, farmers, and everyday Texans flocked to the store. The credit policy was so successful that by 1941, there were 12 Zales stores across Texas and Oklahoma. In 1946, the company moved its headquarters to Dallas to serve as the base for its national expansion. They were always one step ahead. They were among the first jewelers to pivot from downtown shops to the new suburban shopping malls, a move that would define their growth for the next 50 years. The company went public in 1958, and by the 1960s, they were a national force. True to their values, the Zale family shared their incredible success. In 1951, they established the Zale Foundation, which became a philanthropic powerhouse, supporting education, medicine, and Jewish causes. The era of family control eventually ended, and in 2014, Zale Corporation was acquired by its rival, Signet Jewelers. But the legacy of the Zale brothers is timeless. They democratized luxury, building a billion-dollar empire not by catering to the elite, but by trusting the dreams of ordinary people. Number 5. Simon Property Group in Texas. Our number 5 entry is a true giant, a family, so powerful in retail that even though they didn't start in Texas, their shadow looms large over the entire state. They are the biggest mall owners in America, and their Texas portfolio is massive. This is the story of Simon Property Group. The Simon Empire was born in Indianapolis in 1960, founded by two brothers, Melvin and Herbert Simon, the sons of a Jewish tailor from New York. They had an uncanny sense of America's post-war suburban migration and built the gathering places for these new communities, the shopping centers and enclosed malls that became the heart of American consumer culture. They built and acquired malls across the country, eventually going public in 1993 in what was then the largest real estate IPO in history. Under the leadership of the next generation, led by Melvin's son David, the company became the #1 mall operator in the world. So, where does Texas fit in? In a huge way. As Simon expanded, it targeted the fastest-growing markets in the country, and Texas was at the top of the list. Through a series of blockbuster deals, the Simon family became one of the most significant commercial landlords in the Lone Star State. Their Texas footprint is legendary. In a landmark 2002 partnership, Simon acquired a portfolio that included one of the crown jewels of American retail, the Houston Galleria, a world-renowned symbol of Houston's wealth. But their influence doesn't stop there. Ever been bargain hunting at the massive San Marcos Premium Outlets, a sprawling complex that draws shoppers from all over? You were on Simon property? Shopped at the upscale University Park Village in Fort Worth? Or the Firewheel Town Center in Garland? That's the Simon footprint. Their portfolio includes dozens of properties across Texas. The Simon family's story is one of incredible scale and smart financial maneuvering. Their Jewish heritage is reflected in their deep philanthropic commitments, giving hundreds of millions to healthcare, the arts, and Jewish causes. Today, as the very idea of the mall is being challenged by e-commerce, Simon Property Group is once again at the forefront, investing billions to redevelop its properties. Though their story began in the Midwest, the Simon family's vision has profoundly shaped the commercial landscape of Texas. They built the modern town squares for millions of Texans. Number 4. Goodman Manufacturing. At number 4, we have a family that took on the single biggest challenge in Texas, the brutal, oppressive summer heat. This is the story of a Houston-based dynasty that didn't just get into the air conditioning business, they revolutionized it, making cool air an affordable reality for millions. This is the story of Goodman Manufacturing. The Goodman story is the story of its founder, Harold V. Goodman. He started as an HVAC contractor in Houston in 1954. The city was booming, but it was also defined by its sweltering humidity. Air conditioning wasn't a luxury, it was a necessity. By the late 1960s, Harold had become one of the most successful HVAC contractors in the country. Being on the front lines, Harold saw where the equipment he was installing fell short. He knew where costs were too high and where designs failed. In 1975, he decided to stop just installing the equipment and start making it himself, forming Goodman Manufacturing. At first, they just made components, but Harold was waiting for the right moment to get into the main event. That moment came in 1982. As the story goes, Harold learned another HVAC manufacturer was going out of business and selling its machinery. He seized the opportunity, bought the equipment, and officially entered the market as a manufacturer of central air conditioners. His mission was simple but powerful: produce high-quality, reliable, and, most importantly, low-cost HVAC systems. Goodman's strategy was to be the undisputed value leader. Their units became known as the workhorses of the industry, and the company backed them with some of the best warranties in the business. From their base in Houston, the company expanded relentlessly, acquiring other brands and building a massive, state-of-the-art manufacturing campus just outside the city. Harold Goodman passed away in 1996, but the company he built became one of the largest domestic HVAC manufacturers in North America. The ultimate validation of his vision came in 2012, when Goodman Global was acquired by Daikin Industries, the world's largest HVAC manufacturer, for a staggering $3.7 billion. The Goodman family joined a long line of Houston entrepreneurs and created a Texas-born industrial giant. They didn't just build a company, they made modern life in the Sun Belt bearable. Every time a Texan steps out of the blistering heat into a cool home, they are living in the legacy of Harold Goodman's vision. Number 3. Sysco Corporation. Our number 3 spot goes to a company that is, quite literally, the biggest of them all. It's the largest food distributor on the planet, a silent giant whose trucks you see on every highway in America. Its origins are in Houston, born from the merger of 9 companies, including a key business owned by a visionary Jewish entrepreneur. This is the story of Sysco. The architect of Sysco was John F. Baugh, a Texan who envisioned creating a national food service powerhouse from a fragmented industry of small regional players. In 1969, he brought the leaders of 8 other food distribution companies to the table to propose a merger. It was an audacious plan, asking proud entrepreneurs to give up their independence for something much larger. Crucially, among those 9 founding companies was a business led by Harry Rosenthal, a prominent member of Houston's Jewish business community. Entrepreneurs like Rosenthal had spent decades building their businesses, supplying everything from produce to deli meats to the region's growing number of restaurants and hotels. Their expertise and deep local ties were essential to Sysco's launch. When Sysco went public in 1970, it began a relentless campaign of growth, acquiring smaller distributors and rolling them into its ever-expanding network. Their success was built on logistics. They were masters of the supply chain before the term was even fashionable, building a network of massive distribution centers and a fleet of thousands of temperature-controlled trucks. They became the invisible engine of the eating-out economy. If you've eaten at a restaurant, a school cafeteria, or a sports stadium in America, chances are overwhelmingly high that Sysco delivered the food. Today, Sysco is a global juggernaut headquartered in Houston. It has over 75,000 employees and serves nearly 750,000 locations worldwide. Its annual revenue? Tens of billions of dollars, a fixture on the Fortune 500 list. The story of Sysco shows how the combined strength of multiple family businesses, including the foundational contributions of Houston's entrepreneurs, could create a corporation far more powerful than the sum of its parts. It is a Texas-born titan that literally feeds America. Number 2. Dell Technologies. At number 2, we have the story that defines modern Texas business. It doesn't start in a dusty general store or a sprawling factory. but in a college dorm room at the University of Texas. This is the story of a brilliant kid from Houston who took on the giants of the computer industry and won. This is the story of Michael Dell. Michael Saul Dell was born in Houston in 1965 to a Jewish family. From a young age, he showed a stunning gift for business. His parents hoped he'd become a doctor, and in 1983, he enrolled as a pre-med student at UT Austin. But Michael was fascinated by the new personal computer. He saw a huge flaw in the business model of giants like IBM. They sold through dealers, which added a big markup and created a backlog of outdated machines. Dell's insight was simple. He could build better computers for less money and sell them directly to the customer. Operating out of his dorm room, number 27 Fontaine at the Dobie Center, with just $1,000, he started assembling upgraded PCs and selling them to students and local businesses. His company, then called PCs Limited, exploded. He was soon making so much money that, to his parents' horror, he dropped out of college at 19 to run his company full-time. Dell's direct-to-consumer model was a game-changer. It let customers customize their orders and get the latest tech for a lower price. The company's growth wasn't just fast, it was explosive. By 1992, at age 27, Michael Dell became the youngest CEO of a Fortune 500 company. Based near Austin, Dell anchored a tech ecosystem that would earn the region the nickname Silicon Hills. He became one of the richest people on the planet. Throughout this incredible rise, Michael and his wife, Susan, established the Michael and Susan Dell Foundation, which has committed billions to children's health and education. He has often noted that his Jewish heritage informs his values, especially the concept of tzedakah, the responsibility of charity and justice. Today, Dell Technologies is a publicly traded empire, but it remains firmly under the control of its founder. Michael Dell still serves as chairman and CEO, guiding the company he started in his dorm room. He is, without a doubt, the most successful entrepreneur in modern Texas history. Number 1. Neiman Marcus Group. And now for number 1. This isn't just a business, it's an icon, a symbol of luxury and style that put Texas on the global fashion map. Born from a family who famously rejected a chance to invest in Coca-Cola to chase their own dream, this Dallas institution became the arbiter of taste for the entire country. The biggest Jewish family business to shape Texas is, of course, Neiman Marcus. The story begins in 1907. Herbert Marcus, Sr., his sister Carrie Marcus Neiman, her husband Al Neiman, had $25,000 from a previous business venture. They had a choice: invest in a risky startup selling a sugary soda pop, or return home to Dallas and start their own business. They chose to build a store, but not just any store. At a time when Texas was known more for cattle than for couture, the Marcus and Neiman families, who were German Jewish immigrants, envisioned a store offering a level of fashion previously found only in New York or Paris. They opened their doors in Dallas, offering high-quality, ready-to-wear clothing, a novelty for women used to making their own. From the very beginning, Neiman Marcus was different. It survived a fire that destroyed the original store and thrived during the Great Depression by catering to the new wealth of Texas oil barons. It was Carrie Marcus Neiman who established the store's legendary customer service, while she and Herbert brought back the latest styles from Europe, establishing Neiman Marcus as a fashion authority. But it was Herbert's son, Stanley Marcus, who took over in 1950 and transformed Neiman Marcus from a Texas treasure into a global brand. Stanley was a marketing genius. He launched the legendary Neiman Marcus Christmas book, a catalog of extravagant and fantastical his and hers gifts designed to get people talking. These weren't your average gifts. We're talking his and hers airplanes, submarines, even camels. The catalog became a national media event each year, cementing the Neiman Marcus name as the ultimate in luxury. Under Stanley's leadership, the store expanded across the country. The family was also a pillar of the Dallas Jewish community, and their philanthropy has since donated hundreds of millions to Jewish causes, medicine, and the arts. The era of direct family management might be over, and the company has gone through various corporate owners, but the name itself still stands for the family's original, audacious vision. Neiman Marcus defined Texas luxury. It taught the world that style and sophistication could flourish in the Lone Star State, making it more than a department store. It's a cultural institution. So what do we see when we look back at these 10 stories? We see a remarkable portrait of Texas, told through the lens of immigration, opportunity, and legacy. The Sanger brothers brought commerce to the frontier. The Zale family democratized luxury from a small shop in Wichita Falls. Harold Goodman tamed the Texas sun. The Weingarten and Simon families built the very spaces where we shop. Michael Dell launched a tech revolution from a dorm room. And Neiman Marcus projected an image of Texan elegance to the entire world. These families faced hardship and discrimination, yet they didn't just succeed. They built empires. They became philanthropists, city builders, and community leaders whose collective impact helped transform Texas into the powerhouse it is today. Their legacies are everywhere, written into the enduring spirit of entrepreneurship that defines the Lone Star State. What are your family's stories of building a life in a new place? Do any of these histories remind you of your own? Drop them in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey into the hidden history of Texas business, make sure to subscribe for more stories of the dynasties that shape our world. Thanks for watching.